I'm Solaris Blue Ribbon, and I'm listening to Space Boy Universe.
You are listening to Space Boy Universe on the SBU network.
Explore the universe with Spaceboy and Sir Lana.
Minutes, 21 seconds. 5-second tone followed by a 1-second pause.
You are listening to Space Boy Universe.
Okay, gang, let's go.
From the space city called Houston, Texas, welcome to Space Boy Universe, featuring Space Boy and the lovely Sir Lana. So strap in and prepare for launch sequence.
Greetings and salutations. I am Space Boy, and across from me is the lovely Sir Lana, and this is a little show we like to do called Space Boy Universe. It is 420, man, and we're on show number 3.27, and that is Topic Roulette Night again. And as we start the night off, I just want to put the phone number out there. I'm sure Skype is going to be put up shortly, and that is 713-701-5214. You call anytime. In fact, you can call after we do all this stuff right here. In addition to Twitter, we are all over social media. Just search for Space Boy Universe. Of course, I'm at Space Boy Music, she's at Sir Lana, and we're both at the SB Universe. You know, Space Cadets, we do a little thing on the YouTube channel, several things on the YouTube channel, and that is more than just the archive of shows, and that's SB Music, video interviews, 2-Bit Gamers, and so much more. Hit that subscribe button and click that bell to be notified when new content is available. Can't catch a show live? No problemo. Take the SBU on the go with you via Spreaker, SoundCloud, iTunes, iHeartMedia, Spotify, because, man, we like to broadcast. And on that magical note, how are you, Sir Lana?
Hot.
And, by the way, happy belated birthday again.
Oh, yeah. Birthdays, there was Thursday, no big whoop. Had a nice time. Today is Solaris, a Blue Raven's birthday. We wish her a happy birthday, and I had no idea our birthdays were that close. So I feel more special now.
Yes, happy birthday to our
Aries
bestie,
all the way.
Our bestie.
Yeah.
And yes, happy birthday, Solaris Blue Raven.
Hey, Michelle. Miss Michelle. See you in the chat there.
Yes, it's so good to see our regulars showing up. Bev, Miss Michelle.
There's Bev. Yeah, it is too friggin' hot to have a broadcast. I say we fill the tub up with ice and just cancel the show.
Anyway, let's move on because I don't want to really talk about AC.
So the other thing that's kind of bummed me out. I mean, I don't have a personal stake in it or anything, but I just kind of felt bad for Notre Dame.
Mm-hmm.
It's lost its roof. I don't believe anybody was hurt in that.
No.
I didn't hear anything about it. But I'm looking at what would be like, I don't know, maybe a drone or a helicopter view over the top of the church.
Mm-hmm.
The cathedral, and it is black and burnt. It is so devastating to look at. Now, I read in another, and I don't know how reliable this is, this other source, that says Notre Dame will be closed for 5 to 6 years for repairs. Now, apparently there was a weather vane on top of that spire that collapsed, and it was a rooster. It's, you always have a rooster or something like that. they thought it was gone because the fire destroyed it. Well, I guess it just took a nosedive somewhere, and somebody recovered it. It shows this man on the street holding it. So they were able to recover parts, I guess, that meant something. But what I read was that where it started was in the attic, which was wood. They called the attic the forest because it's like one tree makes up each beam or something, and it's just really huge. But it was an area nobody really used or went into. Okay, you're just gonna have to deal with it. Okay, don't even talk about that. And that's where it started, and it spread because it's wood and it's old, and it had accumulation of dust and detritus over time. And I haven't found a definitive answer as to how it started, but however it started, it went like tinder.
Well,
So,
I'd heard they were doing some construction work.
yeah, they are. Those scaffolds that were all up and around it.
Mm-hmm.
It's just that part was wood, and everything below it is stone. And pop quiz, do you know what those things are called that come out, the support structures that come out of the building down to the ground?
I do know this, and it's been a while since I've taken
It's fun to say.
my art class.
Flying buttress.
I was just about to say that.
I know you were, because you're smart, man. But, yeah, I feel bad. But that's, 850 years old?
Mm-hmm.
About? Am I right?
Right. Survived World War I and II.
Yes, it survived so many terrible near disasters to it. And I hate to think somebody coughed and stumbled and sparked a tinder, and that's what happened. There's some statues of, I don't know if these are apostles or saints or angels, narrowly escaped the blaze. They had to be taken down from the spire and transported. Their heads were removed so they could repair them, which is weird. So you've got all these sort of green-looking statues and robes doing all these poses. No heads, but the heads are sitting at their feet, so I guess they can just clean them and put them back together.
Yeah.
But what was the most striking photo is, it's Notre Dame's famous for its gargoyles.
Yeah.
And somebody caught one. It's the one that's kind of like with its hands under its chin, like kind of thinking as the blaze is happening behind it. And I was like, oh, man. And then there's another striking photo where it's on fire, and in the distance you can see the Eiffel Tower. So it's just really, yep, there's the photo right there. I saw it, it's on, the two, I don't know what you call them, towers are at one end.
Mm-hmm.
One of these gargoyles is sitting on the inner part of one, looking kind of toward the blaze. Just really striking. And there's the tower. There's a spire coming down, and the citizens around there look just shocked and devastated. As they're gathering on the streets and on the bridge. But I was like, yeah, that was just really shocking. You just don't think in this day and age, like something that old and monumental could be damaged because all this technology we have, and as fast as the fire crew can get there, you can't think something like that would happen,
Bob just posted I think one of the more popular pictures coming out of this whole catastrophe.
Looks like the cross is lit.
Yeah, it looks like it's lit. And
not like a party, like it's lit up.
Not talking about 420, man.
Mm-hmm.
But
illuminated.
No. Yeah, illuminated.
Lit. I'm sorry about that, but you're going to have to deal with it. Space Boy. I'm not trying to be provocative here. Anyway, I just saw something before the show started, and because we do archive this show on YouTube, so we watch a lot of YouTube, right?
Mm-hmm.
And we subscribe to premium because ads just get in the way of our enjoyment. But YouTube's been fraught with controversy. Sorry, issues, right? So And one of the main problems is there are creators who, like, I guess, I don't know if you call us a content creator, but we're people who have channels on YouTube that create content have relied on YouTube as their source of income, which they get from ad revenue from advertisements running on their videos. And, there's been this huge brouhaha about, well, you're going to get copy striked or you can have your ad removed for just this minor infractions, So a lot of content creators on YouTube are fed up with the bull crap. So I've been sitting back and waiting. I said, there's this vacuum and that's waiting for people to defect from YouTube.
Mm-hmm.
And we thought, it should be Twitch. But Twitch is just mostly for live streaming, and that's about it. It's not for what the service that YouTube can provide you. So this caught my eye, and it made me laugh. This article, YouTube Premium subscribers might soon get $2 monthly to send to their favorite creators. It says YouTube continues to take on Twitch. Well, I'm about to tell you in a minute, Twitch is not going to be their biggest problem.
Mm-hmm.
So this says that YouTube is beta testing a new gifting feature for its premium subscribers. Now, premium subscribers means you pay monthly for YouTube, so you don't have to see any ads. And I do that because I'm a hardcore YouTube viewer, and I just can't deal with the ads, So premium subscribers like me would be able to spend $2 on Super Chats. Now, Super Chats happens when if you go on there and they're live and they're streaming live on YouTube, you'll get a chat window, and you can donate right inside the chat. That's the Super Chat.
Yeah, this is going on right now. I've some of the things that you watch me watch when they do the live streaming. They have the options to do the donations of the super chats and stuff like that. Yeah,
and you can. I've watched other channels that you don't watch while they're rebroadcasting the live stream. That's it's archived, and you could see people. You can see in the video where there's an automatic script that will say so and so donated blah blah blah.
Right.
And that's where that comes from. So Ryan Wyatt, head of YouTube's gaming, which I didn't know was such a thing, confirmed this new feature. It was something they're testing for its subscriber base. It's running through the end of May. It was discovered by something called Android Police. I think it's like this site or this service that watches over Android apps.
Mm-hmm.
So they suggest premium subscribers will receive $2 a month to give to creators. Premium subscription costs $11.99 a month. I didn't know I was paying that much. Jeez. So free Super Chat will refresh on the first of every calendar month, but it won't accumulate. So if I don't spend $2 this month, it goes away, and I had to get another $2 the next month. So it's not like if I don't ever spend 2, 4, 6, 8, that doesn't happen. So I think that's kind of interesting. So Super Chat has helped with some monetization. It's kind of like, think of it as a live pledge drive.
Mm-hmm.
The old school PBS pledge drive. They made it as easy as possible for you to do. So Super Chat started in 2017 on YouTube, but it's been, so it might be something that's not well known, but it's become popular for creators. To $2 gifting feature, it seems to be an incentive for non-Prime subscribers, if you're just doing it for free, to get over to the Prime or Premium. So the reason I'm telling you that is because it made me laugh on the inside, let's say. Because you and I watch PewDiePie.
Mm-hmm.
Because we watch most of the big names, So, and I had read about this last year. It's a service called D Live, just letter D, Live. And it's really interesting, and I'm thinking this is going to be the thing. If anybody's going to be a contender up against Twitch or YouTube for streaming live content, and making money off it, it is going to be DLive. And it's built on, guess what it's built on? Blockchain technology, which we've been talking about off and on for the last year or two. Because everybody's doing it.
Mm-hmm. Not you.
Well, I mean, it's like an algorithm or a code that runs things at the back end. You don't even know it's there unless you're, actively involved.
Speaking of which, my cryptocurrency is up.
Hey, that's some good news. Well, speaking of cryptocurrency, so PewDiePie is going to start streaming exclusively with DLive because he made like a contract with him. He has 94 million subscribers as of the last time we looked. He's somehow beating T-Series right now. So he's been very critical of the content creator issues on YouTube being the biggest individual with a channel. Whereas T-Series is a conglomerate of some kind. It's a business, right?
Mm-hmm.
So he, talking about the advertising revenue model, how it's very, very flawed, and it's very like you have to dance to their tune, and it's so, wishy-washy. So he did this deal. He's going to start streaming regularly on DLive. He says because they will treat you like a real partner, and just like all the other streamers. So it's something of a fresh start for both him and DLive. No shortage of people who are willing to follow him over there. So basically, DLive is a disruptive live streaming platform, whatever that means. It was built using Lino, and I'm going to call this Lino, because I don't think it's Lino. I'm just going to call it Lino. Lino is a decentralized blockchain that was founded in 2017, and they've got 3 million monthly active users with 35,000 active streamers. So this is not some little shoestring coming out of nowhere service. But the thing about this is, you go on there as a creator, or you get on there as a viewer/user, right? And you find your favorite creator, content provider, whoever it's PewDiePie, whoever's on there you like. You can reward directly your creator, like, oh, I like your content, I'm going to give you so many Lino points. And that's a digital currency that can be donated to content creators, which is 0.012 cents, right? And you acquire that through the DLive's mobile apps, or you purchase it on the DLive website, which is dlive.tv, and you can use PayPal to do it, or something called XSOLLA, or other cryptocurrencies, which is, surprise, surprise, also using blockchain to process your orders. So, and the content creators will get up to 90% of the points they earn. So, this goes right around all the bullcrap policies that the content creators were upset with, and I think even Twitch is not that, the ratio of rewarding is not as good either.
Mm-hmm.
So, this, also there's been a lot of controversy with Patreon, right? And so this like, I like this person, I'm giving them this, they get 90% of what you give them, and there's just straight to them. You don't have to worry about, breaking their little ads or anything like that. So I don't think they rely on any ads at all. Instead of competing against each other, it benefits creators to support one another. No platform cuts. Everybody creates the highest quality content. Has the potential to forever change how creators are represented in the industry. And they say they are not going to change how they do business. If they say they're going to give them 90%, you're getting 90%. And they're saying that YouTube's still kind of winning because it has an established history, it has the servers, it has the viewership, but it is fraught with all kinds of issues for the user and the creator that are causing the creators to jump ship, and their viewership is following them wherever they go.
This is the conversation I've had quite often with you, is that if you don't treat the customer right, they're going to go elsewhere. Yes,
that's true for any type of business you have.
Mm-hmm.
Any type.
Don't listen to them. They're going to leave you because the customer wants a service done a certain way, and if you can't provide that service a certain way, then it's hasta la vista. They're leaving you.
Hey there, Gene. I didn't see you because I was busy talking. I'm sweating to the oldies. Yes, I see your orange peanuts. Yeah. Anyway. But
I'm just glad it was peanuts.
Peanuts, circus peanuts, orange circus peanuts. So I saw that, and I was just like, okay, at last we have a contender against YouTube. And I don't know why I was looking at this, and I sort of glanced at something else, and something else caught my eye, and you're going to say, oh, this is old news, but I'm thinking, sure, it's old news, but I want you to be aware of this in case, God help you, I hope it doesn't happen to you. Ransomware. So, I can't remember the last time I got a computer virus. I really don't.
Do you know the last time you actually physically cleaned your machine?
Lord, no. I only reboot it when the power goes out in the house.
Technically, you're not rebooting it.
Well, the power goes out, it gets rebooted. Anyway, I just kind of glanced at something that... Okay, now, what's ransomware, basically? You can break that down real quick, right?
Basically, it's some third party out there that's holding your computer ransom by encrypting your files and like documents and pictures.
It comes in like a virus, right?
It's basically your typical comes in like a virus, and then it encrypts everything on your computer, and then it flashes a number on a screen for you to call, so you can give cryptocurrency
right
to unlock. They'll send you a code to unlock the...
It's evil.
Yeah, it is.
And then you have to call them and say, I don't know who you are. I don't know what you're thinking. Well... But
I've been blessed with a set of skills.
Yeah. Well, I just kind of read this really skimmed. There's a guy called Fabian Wozar, who makes a living ruining ransomware gangs. And he has the hate mail to prove it. And he said at one point he managed to annoy a ransomware author so much they literally renamed their ransomware after him. So it became Fabiansomeware. So I just think it's funny that there's, somebody out there fighting a good fight. And
actually, I was watching a couple videos today about some people that set up a virtual machine on their computer, and then they call these places that they're supposedly Microsoft places, and they're not. And they say, well, we're going to give you a refund, but we need to get connected to your machine. And ultimately, what the people on the U.S. side do, they get connected to their machine, and they run a script to basically delete all their information that they've acquired from different people illegally, and serve them a dish cold.
Well, here, what I read here is saying ransomware writers are starting to learn that targeting home users isn't particularly lucrative because we don't have money. Ain't that the truth? And partly because they simply don't care about the data that's been encrypted. Most of us have finally learned that you don't put anything of importance on your computer at all, just for this reason, So the focus now is on, guess what?
Companies.
Your mobile phone.
Oh, mobile phone.
And if you have a mobile phone, chances are it's getting backed up to a cloud, which I don't like. And to Google Photos or iCloud, and all your pictures on the system are encrypted. You can just download, so it's not a big issue. But home users who can or won't pay ransomware writers have begun to branch out. So if a ransomware finds itself on a system that's particularly powerful or has a very good graphics card, for example, they often opt into not encrypting the files, but dropping something that's called a crypto miner onto the system. So basically, is they hijack your computer and start mining cryptocurrency in the background. Like, oh, you've got a good machine, we'll just start using it. Isn't that something?
Mm-hmm.
So another trend is ransomware or malware that is introduction to crypto jackers. Little Trojans or malware that looks at your system for cryptocurrency wallets and steals your cryptocurrency. So, just want you to be aware there's new threats out there, and especially threats to businesses, but they've got ways to. So, I just want you to know, when you can, back your stuff up. Back up your phone, back up your hard drive. We do it because we've had equipment failure, not because of ransom, but just because the equipment just fails. It just does it. We're sick of it. But, and get on here and Google how to encrypt and decrypt your files. You never know, you might need that.
We just reached a point where having hardware on our end was not practical for backing up a lot of stuff, and so we went to using an Amazon Drive account.
Yes, I'm so glad we did that.
And what do we have total? Like
2 terabytes.
2 terabytes of space.
2 terabytes and a microphone.
Which has allowed us to back up my music production stuff and many of the other SBU stuff that we use pretty regularly, and stuff Solana backs up.
I love it because you can put the app on your phone and access it. And if you need a Word document or a PDF, I can just send it to you in SMS through the app. And it's just like,
it was like one time I needed a copy of the
car insurance. And yes, I took a picture of our car insurance and put it on there, and I just, boop, there you are, proof of car insurance.
So good stuff.
But yeah, I just wanted to keep you up on that. Another thing I found that absolutely fascinates me. Now, I am sort of leery of artificial intelligence because it's not so much AI itself, it's who's got it and what they're doing with it.
Mm-hmm.
But here's something kind of cool. Artificial intelligence is helping old video games look like new. And I was like, what? So this is just sort of a little side venture to take. It's called AI upscaling. In essence, you feed an algorithm of a low-resolution image, and based on what it's learned so far, the AI, the training it's had, it spits out a version that looks the same but has more pixels in it. So it's not so blocky, it's more smooth.
Mm-hmm.
And it's called upscaling. A general technique, it's been around a long time, but the use of AI has drastically improved the speed and quality of the results. I'm like, ooh, that's cool. So they're talking about Elder Scrolls, Morrowind, I don't know what any of that is, I've never seen it. Modders have been using this, and they've gone into titles such as Doom, original Doom, Half-Life 2, Metroid Prime 2, Final Fantasy 567, V11, Grand Theft Auto Vice City, and even 2010's Mass Effect 2 has got the upscaling treatment. Now, I'm looking at someone's Twitter image that they put. Okay, I'm going to get deep nerdy here. If you ever played the original Doom, do you recall the demon dude that would come out and call fire?
You got a link there?
Yeah, call up fire.
Mm-hmm.
Well, they show him really super pixelated, and they upscaled him. He's still a little crunchy on the edges, but like his torso smoothed out, his legs and his arms. It's not hugely impressive, but oh god, K28, what is that? I just looked at the chat.
I thought it was a picture of him after he's eaten some tiramisu.
I'm telling you, I got to tell you a tiramisu story for you. But yeah, I just think this is cool. They showed a screenshot of one of the demons' faces on the wall that you see near one of the boss levels, before and after, and it's not, ooh, wow, but you can see there's the definite difference, and I don't know why they would bother, but they also have a GIF that's running where they show an upscaling technique called nearest neighbor, which I guess it's copying your nearest neighbor pixel, maybe.
Right.
Now that's freaking impressive. It's on that site.
Yeah, it looks well cleaned up.
But yeah, I just thought this was cool.
Looks like they have something from Metroid Prime 2. Yeah, wow.
Speaking of tiramisu,
as she talks about it as we're about to go to break.
I can wait. Wait.
Is it that long?
No, but I can wait. It's fine. Let's go
And
break.
remember, tonight is 713-501. I just totally forgot. 713.
713.
No, is it 713? It's 701 5214.
Wait. 713-701-5214. You should make a jingle. Why don't you just make a jingle?
Well, I do usually have a jingle in my head that helps me remember that.
0811.
So anyway, there you go. We'll be right back after this.
You are listening to Spaceboy Universe on the SBU network.
Explore the universe with Spaceboy and Sir Lotta.
This is author Jordan Root. You are listening to the Spaceboy Universe.
This is K28, and I'm listening to Spaceboy Universe.
Hi, y'all. This is Lori calling from Texas, and I love listening to Spaceboy Universe.
Hey, this is Dave Cruz, host of Beyond the Strange, and you're listening to Spaceboy Universe.
This is Wendy. I'm listening to Spaceboy Universe. Hey, y'all. This is Lorelai DeLille. I listen to Spaceboy Universe. Don't you? Tell your mama and them I said hi.
listening to Space Boy Universe. Here are your hosts, Space Boy and Sir Lana.
Yes, we're back, Sir Lana.
I'm eating ice to try to survive. In case you're wondering what the crunching is. I'm adding some ice to my drink, too. So, so... Not that it matters or anyone cares, and that's absolutely fine if you don't, but my birthday was Thursday. And I went to work like normal because I'm an adult. And two of my colleagues, work colleagues, I don't call them co-workers because I don't work with them on a daily basis. They're like in other buildings, but we all have the same job title. So we hopped on the Metro Rail, K28, and we went 3 stops south, and we went into the tunnels in the underground parts of downtown Houston. And we found us an underground, like, this whole area was just like a mall. Oh, Bev's calling us. Bev doesn't want me to talk anymore. Isn't that right, Bev?
What?
You don't want me to talk anymore. You want to talk now, don't you?
Oh, you can talk all you want, babe.
No, you called me.
Well, I know.
Well, I want to thank you for calling earlier this time, okay. So, how are you tonight, Bev?
Oh, I'm not doing too bad.
Good.
Doing pretty good.
You got any hot topics on your mind?
Oh,
could have been
okay. You know what really floored me about that fire?
The Notre Dame fire?
Yeah.
What was that?
Is that cross did not burn.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you figure how hot was that fire? And gold, that was made of gold. It should have melted.
It should have did something, but it's nice to see miracles in this very day.
That's what I told Bob. I said, that's a miracle in itself that cross did not burn. That was wild. I thought, oh my gosh.
Mm-hmm.
I said, people don't believe that's a miracle, then there's something wrong with them.
All right, Bev, here's the ultimate question.
Yes.
Do you still believe that Trump is innocent or guilty?
Of what?
Of collusion with the Russians.
Oh no, he's not guilty.
But the news still thinks he's guilty.
Yeah, that's the news.
And there's people in Congress that want to impeach him still, even after the fact. Here's my rant. And hold on just a second. Let me get this set up.
Sure.
He's got to get his goat ready. That's what he's doing.
So anyway, what gets my goat in this is we've spent almost 2 years investigating Trump, right?
And never found anything.
Didn't find anything, and we spent millions of dollars on this investigation with the special counsel, and then there's all this stuff that else is going on that we've neglected because everybody's been so focused on let's get Trump,
Yeah.
And here, if you I just watched a report about in Arizona how there's a mayor in Arizona, I can't remember which city. I think it might be Yuma, but who is saying that their town is overflowing with illegals that have crossed the border, and they're calling out for the government to take care of it. And the government, all they're doing is twiddling their thumbs and not doing a dang thing to, you know what I'm saying? And I would be very concerned if I was a Democrat right now, because if they continue to be, the path that they're following, they're not going to win an election coming up on this next election. In fact, the gains that they made to take, I guess it's the House, but that's all going to wash away.
Yeah.
Because quite frankly, most of America, we're fed up. We just don't care. We want things fixed. I mean, the economy's doing decent. I don't know about you, but we filed our taxes and got a nice little refund back. And
no, see, we don't have to file taxes because we're both on disability. So.
Well, I hope I don't get to that point, but it is nice. It is nice to know that we managed to get a refund, and we're just waiting for it to come in so we can cut a tree in the backyard. I hope we don't have to use it for AC money. But anyway, so I guess what I'm trying to say is that America in general is fed up. I'm talking about people that don't live in New York, who don't live on the West Coast in California. That mainstream America, they're just tired of all the garbage. All they want is for things to be taken care of, and for their representatives to do what they were meant to do, being put there in Washington.
Well, see, and Trump is trying to make things better, but the Democrats are fighting him tooth and nail on things.
They've cut
and they're acting... Oh,
no, I'm sorry, dear. I didn't mean to interrupt. I get all riled up when I start talking about this stuff.
I know. I do too. But see, they're acting like spoiled little 2-year-olds.
And then,
they're not getting their way. They wanted Hillary in there because she could be the puppet and they would have her strings. But now Hillary's not in there, and now this has been going on for... I mean, his term's almost up. And it's been going on all this time.
Well, election season's about to kick in for the... Yeah, so this is when they start doing it.
I look for him to be voted in again.
Yeah, and it's all going to come down to all this nonsense that's going on. I mean, and it's more than just, the things going against Trump. You've got... I get her name wrong every time. Ocasio-Cortez... I'm sure somebody out there would rhyme in. She's the one that basically ran Amazon out of New York.
Oh, yeah.
And, there was jobs that were lined up, and a lot of people were pissed off that she did what she did. They ended up in, I guess, Virginia. And so you got stuff like that. And then you've got this lady, and I can't remember her name, talking negative about 9/11. And then they don't censure her in any way. They passed a bill, but they couldn't come out and grow a pair and put her in her place. And it's a shame,
Yeah, and like Bob just put in, Obama spied on a rival politician campaign.
Well,
and nothing happened to him.
Well, I wouldn't count your chickens before they're hatched on that one, because you've heard Trump say that he wants to get down so this never happens to another president, right? Well, they're going to start investigating what led up to this, and we're going to find out the real collusion where it took place. So. Yep.
But They have been investigating the collusion since he first got in, and nothing has ever come up.
Right.
There's no evidence of it whatsoever. But yet they constantly are still investigating it. Right. I don't understand what they're trying to find on him.
It's not like they're trying to find something on him. Well, let me rephrase that. They're trying to find some kind of dirt on him where they can impeach him or do anything. And all this is doing is it's not the will of the people. The people want you to, they want the economy to improve. They want jobs. They want better health care. And all they're doing is not doing their job.
Exactly.
And,
and then you got this, I'm sorry.
No, it's okay. Go ahead, dear.
You got this Congresswoman Omar.
Yes.
Asking judges to go easy on ISIS recruits.
Right.
I mean, come on. You can tell she's not for this country.
Yeah, it's a shame what's going on with all that, and and I can tell you, I don't know if you're familiar with Sheila Jackson Lee.
No.
She is a congresswoman from Houston, and she gives us a bad look in general while she's up there. She ranks up there with Maxine Waters, who doesn't know what she's saying either. All she wants to do is all she keeps coming out of her mouth is impeach Trump, impeach Trump.
Yep.
Hey, what about representing your people and doing something good for them? That's what aggravates me is, we send you people up there for a reason and on our behalf, to represent us. And all you're doing is just feeding your pockets full of money. I mean, and I don't think that's right. And speaking about what doesn't seem right is, how is it, I'm born here. I go to work my rear end off for who knows how many years. I started working when I was 15. But anyway, the point I'm getting toward is somebody can cross the border and instantly get citizenship. They get a work visa and allowed to stay here. And, they get all these perks. And I feel like, hey, I'm an American citizen. Shouldn't I get perks before somebody else gets perks?
Exactly. And they set them up on welfare even.
Mm-hmm.
And Bob and I are 150% below poverty level, and we only get, like $16 a month in food stamps. That's it.
See, I just think that's wrong. We should be helping.
It is.
We should be helping our people, and that even goes back to my strong belief on veterans. I think today I freaked Solana out. Saw this gentleman who was wearing a Vietnam hat, and I recognized the hat because my father has the same hat. And so I walked up to him, shook his hand, and said, "Thank you for your service." And he was a little taken back by it, but I guess he realized what I was doing. And I always make sure to go out of my way when I see somebody of the service to thank them for what they do. And but yeah, veterans are very important to me because
they are.
And it gets me mad when our very own government, we send these boys off to go to war to take care of the United States business, and we don't. When they come back home, and they're suffering from PSD and then other things that have affected them through the course of going over to wherever we're sending them, and we don't take care of them. I think it's just a crime.
I know it's so wrong because. I mean, stop and look at it. Think about it. If it wasn't for them, we would not be able to live the life we're living now.
Exactly.
And the government just kind of turns their head away.
Mm-hmm.
Turns their head the other way, and, oh, well, they're home, okay. And nobody really knows
right.
what a soldier suffers when they, with everything they see in war.
So this is my thing, Bev, is that you have the military vets, I think, should be taken care of. I think that our aging population should be treated with some dignity as well and be taken care of. I mean, they paid into taxes all these years. You would think that even as someone of an that's older, that's at retirement, they've seen so many things. They should be revered as people who have seen history unfolded through the United States. I think they're another group of people that should be taken care of. I don't like the idea of sending our elderly to nursing homes and forgetting about them. And you all right over there, Solana?
I'm sorry.
So anyway, no,
I'm eating ice cubes to stay cool.
Did you get a freezer tube?
I bet.
We've got those Sonic icicles.
Okay, during the break, I'm going to eat a popsicle.
Popsicle.
Yes, sir.
That's probably more tastier than sucking on ice.
Well, it's I actually bought in a bag, so it's fine. Didn't have any.
But anyway, you get where I'm coming from, right, Bev?
Oh yeah, and you know, they come over here. They come across the border. They want.
Bev, it's okay to call them illegal aliens.
Illegal aliens. Okay.
Let's call what they are. I mean, don't
call a spade a spade.
Let's not sugarcoat it, because in this program, yeah.
You know, and even when they do become a citizen, they don't have to pay taxes for how many years?
Well, they were talking about doing a background check. They had to pay some kind of fee for coming in, and then they have to get back in the line behind those who are trying to do it legitimately. But has that worked for us so far? No. I don't think so.
And I think if they're illegal, they need to be shipped back and told, you want over here, you do it right.
Mm-hmm. And you know, there are a lot of them that are trying to claim asylum over here. And I don't want to get to a point where we can't, you know, accept people that are claiming asylum. But the reality is that I know there's a lot of stuff going down in South America and in Venezuela and all that right now. And I feel bad for these people. But what they're doing is they're walking through Mexico, and they can claim asylum in Mexico, but they're choosing to just keep on going to the United States. You know?
And you know, we can't even take care of our own, let alone all the illegal aliens coming in.
Exactly. That's what I was talking about with the vets and taking care of our own people in general.
Right. We got homeless vets and homeless families, and, you know, and we can't even feed and take care of our own people. Why would we want more that we can't take care of?
And it's not that I'm not compassionate about, you know, the plight of a human in a bad condition. It's just, you know, we have to be a country of laws. And if we don't establish that, then any willy-nilly person can come in here, and we get the wrong person coming in here, and it's game over, you know?
Yep. Exactly. Especially, I mean, we could, like 9/11 only works.
Exactly. I mean, you know, it's a terrible situation that we're in, but you know, it's kind of like we've kicked the can, and when I say we, I'm really blaming Washington. They've kicked the can down the road as far as they can. It's time to pay the piper, and that means you're going to have to make some grown-up decisions and get the pacifier, get the binky out of your mouth, and make a decision, you know?
But see, they don't want to. They want to discredit Trump as much as they can, but what they don't realize is doing all this, they're discrediting themselves.
Which brings it back full circle about the elections coming up. You know, they're really shooting themselves in the foot, and I think the news is just as culpable in the situation as the representatives we've elected for Washington. I mean, because all they've been doing is fake news, and you know.
It's like I don't even watch the news anymore because I get so tired of it. You know, all they want to do is it's fake. I mean, there's no real news anymore.
Yeah,
except the weather.
Dino just mentioned in chat, U.S. should not be the world police, and I absolutely agree. We shouldn't be.
Oh, I agree too.
Getting into everybody else's business. I think Solana's like that. She takes the attitude of, we don't need to be getting in their business.
Oh, I have that attitude. You leave me alone, I'll leave you alone, and that's how I would like the world to work. But no,
exactly,
that's not happening.
Yeah, I believe that the world police thing all started with Teddy Roosevelt.
Oh, did it?
Yeah, going that far back. A little history note there.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, I'm trying to think of, you know, how we were policing. That was close to World War One, and I guess we were trying to stay isolationist, stay out of the world. You know, back then the United States probably had it right then. We were isolationist. We didn't want to be involved with the rest of the world. We just wanted to do our thing. We're on the beginning of the Industrial Revolution, and things were changing in a major world way for especially the United States. And, that's how it all came down. Are you shaking your head yes over there, Solana?
I have a song in my head because of a GIF I just posted.
Sorry. Oh, I see. Nothing related. Nothing related to the
Nothing
history.
related to what you're talking about. Sorry. Just playing in chat.
Oh, she's funny. I love her to death.
That's Bev's way of patting me on the head and saying, "Run along now."
That's her way of saying, "Oh, bless your heart."
Yeah, that's the Yankee way, I guess.
Well, bless your pea-picking little heart. I haven't heard that in a long time.
Don't say that. I usually actually have to pick peas, and I deeply resented it because I didn't even eat them.
Oh, I love those good old days of green bean picking and.
You're a freaking weirdo. That's what you.
No, I just I'm a Southerner. Your
parents didn't force you to shell purple hull peas out of gallon-sized trash bags, like 30-gallon-sized trash bags. You didn't eat peas or purple peas or anything. They still made me do it.
You didn't have the luxury of eating boiled peanuts or...
Well, parched peanuts. My dad would parch peanuts in the oven.
Parched?
What's that?
Parched peanuts. Where you take your raw peanuts in the shell and you just put them on a tray and you put them in the oven and you heat them up. They're parched.
Oh, that sounds good. I never heard of that.
Yes,
well, my grandfather was from Georgia, and so they used to have, back in that time, they used to have side vendors that they had boiled peanuts. And, of course, my grandpa would definitely, my grandpa was from Alabama, and my grandmother was from Georgia. But they were just down the road from Georgia. I don't know exactly how they met, but I think what it is, my grandfather's side of the family lived in Macon, Georgia.
Yeah.
And
I was just, I'm sorry.
Yeah. But, so to keep this one short, boiled peanuts are delicious.
Sure.
I was just getting ready to say, that's got to be a Southern thing.
It is a Southern thing, like grits and
pork cracklings and spam.
And see, as a Southern, I will not eat collard greens. Those are
I didn't rate those. No,
it's so
I've
nasty.
never had them, but they don't sound good.
No, they're not that great.
Did you eat crackling? My mom did.
Oh, I love crackling.
She loves spam.
I love spam.
And she loved,
I love spam. We love spam.
Vienna sausage.
Spam and eggs.
And she liked that motor oil that was called ribbon cane syrup, like motor oil coming out of a tin can.
Ooh. We like Mrs. Butterworth.
I like her
too. That's a Southern
too.
thing. It's a deep South thing.
Well, Bev, I am so proud of you for calling in early and making our conversation interesting tonight. I can always pick your brain to get you a little riled up about the topics of the day, and that's all that matters.
I get riled up so easy at times. Just ask Bob, he'll tell you, but don't believe anything he says either.
Well, we love you, as always. And
I love you, as always.
Give Bob a big bear hug for me.
I sure will.
All right, dear. We'll catch you next time.
Okay. Love you guys.
Love you too. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Okay, we'll take a break, and we'll be right back after this, and Solana will have a popsicle.
You are listening to Spaceboy Universe on the SBU network.
Explore the universe with Spaceboy and Solana.
Hey, Solana!
What?
If Spaceboy Universe was cheese, would you eat it? Come on now, it's a simple question.
Maybe?
SpaceboyUniverse.com.
are listening to Spaceboy Universe. Here are your hosts, Spaceboy and Sir Ron.
All right, we're back. And before we get into our next caller, I just want to take a minute to make an announcement from the SBU. For a little bit over a year and a half, we've been doing broadcasts with the PAUK Radio Network. Well, unfortunately, we ended our journey with them this week. So many changes coming down the pipe on their end that we just decided that it would probably be best so that they can keep doing what they're doing, and so that we don't have to make any changes on our end, what we have to do. But we wish them the best, and we appreciate all the love and support.
Absolutely. It's been a great time.
Irene is peaches in my book, and I can't say enough good things their way to measure up to how much we feel about them. And we hope for the best for their thing, and I just wanted to get that out, let our peeps know, our space cadets. And then as far as the future of SBU, well, I guess we'll see as we keep going down our railroad track here, and we'll keep you posted. All right, so our next caller of the evening is Miss Michelle. How are you, Miss Michelle?
I'm great. How are you?
Doing fantastic. So are you stuffed?
Well, the turkey was.
Mm-hmm.
I did have leftover turkey. It's Easter weekend here, and I decided Mom wanted turkey, so I made turkey because, well, everybody wants turkey all the time.
I love eating turkey.
Anyway, well, I guess I have a knack to it, and, my cousins, when they got married, they all said, Michelle, can you make turkey? So, turkeys were made, and, it's a thing. It's a thing. I'm the girl that makes the turkeys. Anyway, I want to change subjects on you.
Okay.
Because there was big paranormal news this week.
Oh,
Awful tragedy. Lorraine Warren passed away at 92.
Okay.
I saw something about that.
Yes. Now, I know that in some ways they're very reputable, in other ways they're not. But when you stop and look at the big picture, what they did for the paranormal community, and when I say paranormal, I mean cryptids, I mean ghosts, I mean aliens. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? The whole spectrum.
The whole cauldron.
Yeah, the whole cauldron. They opened it up and almost made it acceptable. Prior to them, most people would never say a word about if they thought they had a ghost in their house.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Right.
And now raise your hands. Right?
Mm-hmm.
And so in some ways they did a lot for the community that way, making it acceptable. Also, I do have a firm belief that a lot of the things in their haunted museum they had were truly they were truly possessed or something. And I have a great concern in my heart. And it was funny because, I did not know she was ill. And, of course, her husband passed away quite a while ago, Ed Warren. But I did not know that she was ill. And I was thinking to myself, and it must have been Wednesday, I was thinking, I wonder what will happen to their museum when she passes.
Yeah.
It just sort of popped in my head, and ba-da-ding, she died Thursday. Very, very, very concerned with that stuff because
what's your
remember,
concern?
She has, there's things like Annabelle. They host Annabelle. My concern is that it's not going to go into hands that are going to keep these entities. Yeah. Say if it goes off to all one person and they don't do what they should do with it.
In other words, you're saying that they're, with this psychic, not necessarily psychic, but paranormal energy surrounding these objects, that it's like kind of like that dummy in Ghostbusters who shuts down the grid and releases all the ghosts and
the EPA idiot.
Yeah.
That's exactly what I'm thinking. Yeah. Like I have an understanding that there's quite a few objects there, not just Annabelle, but they'd have a priest come in and bless them on a regular basis, like to keep whatever's going on with them at bay.
Right, and so someone with the wrong attitude,
Or carelessness.
All they need is Zach Bagans to go in and get them and shake that Annabelle around. Yay, we're done. The world is ended. Apocalypse has happened.
Well, some might say we're overdue for it.
I know, it's bound to happen, but nonetheless, we don't need Zach Bagans bringing it in. Okay, just saying. But none of it. I will go slap him.
That kind of reminds me of the curse on the Hope Diamond.
Yes, there's that too. Oh my, so many things to worry about. And in other news, here, was it 2 weeks ago? Did you guys see that about that? I'm trying to think where it was at, and I couldn't find it later on when I was trying to tell my son about it. But there was a lady, I'm not going to say in India, but maybe Syria or somewhere there. She was a college student. She got up on top of cars. We don't know what she was saying, but they said that she was leading a rebel alliance somewhere for women, for the rights of their people, not women's rights, but the rights of their people.
Mm-hmm.
And a place where, and nothing happened to her about it, right? Nothing bad happened to her for it. No, there was no repercussions. And I'm going to let you all know, none of us really know what that woman was saying. That, I mean, all they ever translated for us is that she was yelling for freedom. Now, a chill went up my spine when I seen her. Not that I think women should have rights, we need rights, yes. A chill went up my spine because a few years ago I had a big premonition, and like I've had, and I've called in and told you guys different premonitions here and there, that the leader of ISIS was a woman. And when I seen her, I'm like, that's not the leader, she's too young. But the leader of ISIS is a woman. And I just felt like the air went right out of my chest. I'm like, it's begun. You know, like the sort of clink in my head. I'm like, oh no, because everybody here is blindsided by that. Going, yeah, you go, girl. You stand up there and yell and get people following you. Yes, right. Well, kind of scary. Anyway, I'm just putting that out there. I'm not saying anybody hate on her. I'm just saying the mass is coming together.
I wonder if you're having a premonition about the ISIS leader, his wife.
No, because the ISIS leader, it is a woman. Okay. I'm telling you, it is a she, and I know that to the very grit of my soul. I know it. I breathe it. You can ask anybody who I've talked to on that subject. There is no doubt in my mind that it is a woman.
Mm-hmm.
Some things come very clear. Some things come sporadically. This is something that's very clear. Very, very clear. Anyway, but that's here nor there. I just put that out in the universe. Oops.
No, I think it's interesting. I mean, it sounds like you read a book where the leader of some revolution gets cut down, and his significant other steps up and takes over and to finish off what her husband started. I mean, I'm just thinking of different scenarios now.
Well, in my mind right now is not right now, but then, and when I had this premonition, it wasn't a case of like that. Mm-hmm. It was a case of they actually worshiped this woman.
Oh, okay.
Now, I want to take you back to this woman standing up on a car in a place where women shouldn't even speak out. And how come nobody came and drug her down? connect the dots, people. Connect the dots. We're not stupid. We're really smart people. And, start connecting your dots.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm going to point out an obvious thing, and I'm not going to go in history or any big debate, but just remember, when Hitler got into power, it was the UN that supported him at first.
Indeed.
You know what I mean? Like, connect your dots, people, because there's parts of it that they want this to happen. They want people to live in terror. It's just how it is. They want us to live in terror while thinking that we're free.
Well,
I agree.
Anyway, there's my big epiphany for the day. Anything else we want to talk about?
Well, it's definitely some things to think about there, Miss Michelle.
I know. I always have something deep. When I want to go deep, I go deep.
I guess as I backtrack, how are you doing? I mean, I know life has been crazy for you, but I mean, how are you right now?
I'm doing okay.
Good.
I'm doing okay. I'm back to work. For those who don't understand what he's talking about, my father passed away recently. And I went off work to take care of him as he passed. And it was very hard for me. Very, very difficult. But now, things are getting, I don't know if it's getting back to normal, but it's getting back to a new normal, maybe?
Mm-hmm.
Yes. I've been looking into some different research. Now, there was a thing from years ago. Oprah, I think, had it on at one time. The Secret.
Yeah.
Remember that? Where you're supposed to think positive thoughts and they'll come true and all that stuff?
Sorry.
But I know, right?
First,
let
me apologize for Solana's outburst of laughter.
That was involuntary. I'm sorry, Miss Michelle.
I know. It's all good. I agree with you, Solana, because it's not represented properly. Apparently, you're supposed to train your mind to almost, at any point in your day, think about how your life should be, how you want it to be, the things you want, the things you dream about, and there's a lot to it. Anyway, it's a very hard process. That's why nobody really seems to be able to do it, but some people can. I don't know.
Well, I do believe in the other side of it, Miss Michelle. If I'm an a-hole and I actively do things and say things to other people, that person stays messed up, they're upset, they're sad, or they're angry, and then they start this chain reaction that has some actual, tangible, even if it's mental or emotional, but I call that tangible, consequences out there in another person in the world. You want to call it karma, that's bad thoughts or bad thinking, bad behavior. Though that is real. But if I'm just sitting, minding my own business, trying to think happy little thoughts, and that's supposed to change things, and I don't actually do anything other than just power of my mind, no, that's garbage. But
okay,
you're free to think whatever you wish. That's fine.
Well, no, but there is a concept behind it that I can kind of get behind. Now, if you think, it sort of involves you almost thinking every single detail of your day out. You know what I mean? Like, say you go to get in bed, right?
Mm-hmm.
And you sit there and you think, okay, when I get up in the morning, I'm going to shower. You almost have to think about the water hitting you with the shower. You know what I mean? Like, and then I'm going to go have a coffee and a bagel or whatever people have in the morning, because I don't do mornings. Anyway, so you do that, and it's your whole day, but you insert the parts that you want, like, you know what I mean, how it's going to manifest what you want. So say you want to win the lottery, so you're going to think out your whole day, right down to the numbers you're going to put on your ticket, and put it in.
That it doesn't work. We'd have won 7 times over by now if that worked.
I don't.
I understand.
I don't generally do that.
Quite believe in it, but I don't think you can win the lottery that way. But you can think things out, and maybe
mentally, that's probably a really great, healthy thing to do. It's not me. Yeah. I'm not mentally healthy, so there you go.
And see, for me, I try to be positive.
And I keep knocking him down.
And I just...
Poor guy doesn't stand a chance.
For me, I've seen how, in my family, I have a history of depression. And how easy it is to get sucked down into that. And if I don't push myself to be upbeat or positive, then it gets me into a state of mind that is really not healthy for me.
Yes. Yeah. No. I understand that. I'm quite an upbeat person in general, anyway. But so Lana, I will tell you this. I understand it, and I see your frustration with that.
But
and
Ms. Michelle,
I totally, because I don't think it would work with a lottery. I think it would work with a gradual change, maybe.
Right.
I don't know. I haven't tried it.
It would be on the lines
I'm
like,
just saying it's an idea.
I'm going to have a good day, and I'm going to do this, and this is going to happen. I'm going to say nice things to my husband when he comes home, and give him a big hug and kiss. These are things you can manifest easy. I think that's probably like positive reinforcement. It's like making a conscious effort to do positive things, and that's just not me, unfortunately.
I understand.
Not who I am.
To me, I think it would help you save for going on a trip to the Bahamas.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like,
because all my energy is focused during the workday when I'm at work on my acting abilities. You know what I mean? I have to be the team player. I have to pretend to be interested. I have to pretend to be normal so I could fit in and people don't avoid me and talk about me behind my back and avoid me. All these little things I have to do to not be me so I can not get my paycheck in danger. And then when I come home, I just shed all that.
Okay, so Lana, I want to tell you this now. As I just said, my father recently passed away and I took care of him. I went to see a therapist because I did take his passing quite hard. I did. And I still am. But I went to see this therapist, and the therapist said, I think you need to go back to work because it will help you. Now, just to enlighten the rest of the world, you know what I do for a living? I'm a palliative care nurse.
I take
care of people who are dying. How the heck is that going to help?
Yeah.
So I stopped going to the therapist because I think she's stupid. Sorry, I don't say that about many people, but I decided.
Well, for some people, they do need
somebody
to talk to that is a third party that's neutral, that's not related or a friend. Yeah. Some people that all they need is just to talk, and that works for them. Some people probably need counseling, constant, and maybe some drug adjustments. I'm not saying that's the answer, but for me, I don't know if there's a solution. I don't know if I care to find one. Spaceboy is genuinely a good person. I don't know what he's doing with me half the time. And I told him, I said, I'm not a good person, and I don't care about being one. That's the sad part. Because it's sort of working for me, in certain aspects.
I'm going to ask you this. You're like a teacher, like you work in a university?
I am not a teacher, no. I'm staff.
No, okay. You're a staff member, okay.
Yeah.
So do you have to deal with, spoiled kids?
No, that's the beautiful thing, Miss Michelle.
Spoiled professors.
It's faculty. I don't deal with the public. I don't deal with students, except for when a faculty person sends me one of their students who has been anointed to talk to me about updating their section of the website, which is hilarious. Won't get into that. But most of the time, I'm just dealing with faculty and some staff. Because my primary job is updating the college website with a lot of peripheral tasks, unrelated to that.
Yes.
And I've eked out my little kingdom, and I have my own office, believe it or not.
I think my problem is I wear my heart on a sleeve.
You do, and you're a justice warrior.
Well, that I will admit.
Not social justice, just justice.
I think that I get frustrated when I see injustice being done.
You want to fix it, and you want to speak up, say something, and that gets you into trouble.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I have learned to pick my battles and keep my mouth shut and go, well, that doesn't really affect me, so I don't care. That's how you get through higher education.
Yes, that's true. That's true. I don't disagree with you. And, you know, being a nurse, and I mean, I'm a very caring nurse. People don't take this wrong. But sometimes you've got to look at people and go, whatever. Yeah, I know, you have a hangnail. That's terrible. I'm sorry to hear it. If that's the worst thing that's happened to you today, I'll put you on my list. I'll get back to you. I'll put a cast on that.
That's almost like me saying, well, it sucks to be you today.
I mean, that's pretty heavy what you do, but then that you and the people who have to euthanize pets, I can't imagine what that's like either. So.
Well, I don't euthanize people. I want to make that
I'm
clear.
saying
I take care of them.
You take care of them at this part of their life that's probably not the happiest. Yeah. It's heavy, I would imagine, on that level. Yeah. What I'm saying, it's probably almost equal to people who have to take care of sick pets that are not going to make it. That's, I mean, the level of sadness and heaviness.
It can be, and I usually, now, I've had nobody pass on my shift since I've been back, thankfully. But, I mean, I was always very, very good with this. Very good. You know, like, I was that person that the family members cried on, and, you know what I mean, I patted their back.
That's
now
heavy.
I don't really want to look at them. I don't even, but it never bothered me. It was just part of the, you know what I mean? Like, I enjoyed it.
When it's you and you know what that feels like, you'll never be quite the same unless a lot of time goes by and you can deal with it. But right now, it's too raw. It's just too much.
Yeah. Yeah, and for a therapist, an supposedly educated person, to sit there and tell you, you need to go back to work, it'll get your mind off of things. And I looked at her, and I said, do you realize what I do for work? You do realize what I do, right? And she said, yes. I said, so, to get over my father dying and taking care of him through his last moments of his life, you want me to go take care of other people during their last moments of okay, good, I'm fine, I'll go back to work. Great. All better now, thank you. I may have swore, too. And she told me I was unprofessional. And that was wonderful.
Yeah.
But, anyway. But, I can have quite a foul mouth when I get mad.
Yeah, I would say, well, I have an unprofessional finger likes to meet you, so I wouldn't be able to have handled that any better than you. I'd have stormed out of there. And then I would have put a bad Yelp review about her on there. So.
Yeah, the funny thing is, I don't believe, like, maybe I'm wrong, maybe it's just my province, but I don't think we really have Yelp for that sort of stuff here. I mean, you know, I am in a community that's 10 years behind.
There is a healthcare site. There's different places where you can go in and say, oh, this doctor so-and-so, what your experiences were. There's something like that for every aspect of life that you can complain about everything. There's a place for you to complain about everything. Probably.
And that brings up another subject, millennial. We're through the millennial thing, where everybody has freaking feelings. People stop feeling.
Yeah.
Only feel when it's necessary.
Yeah. Only feel when I hit you with this hammer. That's the only time you can feel.
That is right, Sir Lana. There we go. That's my next motto. People stop feeling so much. Gosh.
Well, I'm sorry, because Sarah McLaughlin just ruined that for everybody. And I cannot stop tearing up every time I see a pet commercial like that.
Oh, yeah. They knew how to take your heart and rip it right out of your chest, didn't they?
Nothing bothered me. It didn't bother me.
Well, Miss Michelle, we appreciate you calling in tonight.
Okay.
And
I appreciate letting me call in.
Oh yes, you call in every week. We love when you call in. We're not saying anything negative about Bev. We love her too. We love all our space cadets.
Yeah.
Yeah, but you don't need to hear from me every week, honey, because
well, if we didn't, nobody would call in.
I suppose. Listen, no, there's other people that call. You got, well, Bob should call in sometime and not Bev, or maybe they can call separately. Kay needs to call in. K20, I'm calling people out. I'm calling you all out now.
I think Kay's in a delicate situation. He's got to pick his times, you know.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I know. He's
sometimes
always delicate. Stop feeling gay.
I don't even see him in either chat. I think he may have to duck out for a bit. Talking about him, he's not in here.
Yeah, I know. He'll hear about it. Don't worry. He's probably listening, and he's going, they're talking about me. I'm not delicate. I don't have feelings. Stop it, Kay. I told you, stop feeling.
I think you were all right. As long as you don't diss trains or tiramisu, we'll be fine.
Yes.
Yes.
Don't say anything bad about either one of those.
Yes, but everybody else, call in. You hear me? I told you to, so do it. You've been demanded. Thank you. Have a good night.
Thanks, Miss Michelle.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
All right. All right, so we're going into break. When we come back, we'll probably take some more calls and continue our topic roulette night.
You are listening to Spaceboy Universe on the SBU network.
Explore the universe with Spaceboy and Sir Lotta.
The epic battle begins this Friday. Direct from ringside at Laser Death Melt and Bot vs. Bot in Galaxy's 2-ton weight championship, where your challenger, Good Bot, will face the reigning champion, Bad Bot. You're terminated. Reserve seating starting at $30. 2-drink minimum, where ladies don't get in free. This is an SBU production. You're listening to Spaceboy Universe.
listening to Spaceboy Universe. Here are your hosts, Spaceboy and Sir Lana.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, continuing the rich tradition of people calling in, a man who doesn't need a big introduction, and that is our good friend of the show, Dino. How are you tonight, Dino?
Oh, well, it's a round table, so I thought I'd come around.
Well, we appreciate coming to the table. So pull up the chair and tell us what's on your mind, sir.
Well, there have been a couple of things. I'm glad that spring has sprung. Unlike you guys, we haven't had hot weather out here. It's been exceptionally wet and windy, but in the last couple of days, it looks like that pattern has finally stopped. Spring has sprung, and my property, all the gardening I did last year has come through. I have 4 different colored types of flowers. I'm on 2 levels here, and one of my lemon trees had died for some reason last one I had saved after moving up here, and trimmed and prepared it nicely. So in its place, I tore it down about a month ago because it was raining all the time anyhow. I said I might as well plant, and I planted a native manzanita bush, which I think will hopefully turn into a nice small tree in its place. And it's taken right off so far. It seems to love the place in place of the lemon tree. So those are good things that we have to remember in tough times, And so what's been on my mind, I really don't like discussing politics on these shows. I'm probably don't like to get on anybody's radar. I'm a good person, but I've been screaming a lot at our governor here. He's on his Facebook page. I'm a constituent, and I kind of came out and said things, all kinds of things, because I think everybody is aware it was an unusual thing happened about 3 weeks ago. A judge in California heard a case that said that people were being discriminated against in California under the Second Amendment, the gun, the right to arm. And there are a lot of people, including some very close friends of mine for years, who just are gun phobic. They just hate guns. They think every time, something shooting happens, then we got to do more laws. And, we've heard, you and I and everybody has heard these arguments back and forth, and there were about 1,000 comments on when he came out and said, "Oh, we have to move now that I'm governor and make it stricter." And he said it was a tragedy that this judge came through and said, "Hey, everybody else can have standard capacity magazines for their various legally owned weapons. You're discriminating against Californians." And he quoted in his, I thought was amazing to a lot of people, but he quoted in his judicial ruling 3 different cases. One where a woman was, I think, at home alone, the typical 3 in the morning, her door starts getting kicked in by who knows what they were doing, but they were criminals. Had a 15 or a 16 round magazine for her pistol, took the phone in one hand to dial 911, which most of us know if you live outside of a city, the police would probably only get there in time to take a report, And it was hard for me. I grew up in a major city and didn't think it was necessary until right after college, 2 of my friends, one was murdered, his wife raped and left for dead in their house. A guy just came in the middle of the night, and within 2 months later, another a woman that I was kind of dating, a young woman, I had dated previously, but I was friends with, and she came home on her 21st birthday and was in the famous San Francisco Haight-Ashbury district when it was still a very peaceful place, and guy just came right up to her. She was locking her car on her 21st birthday to go into her house and shot her 3 times in the stomach. She did live, and she became famous because these were the famous, not the Zodiac, but the zebra killers, who were going around shooting people based on that they were white and that they were a sect of a Muslim group, a weird sect, and you had to kill white people. But at any rate, at that time, and I had just gotten out of college, and it really was, last thing I thought about was violence, but in the 70s, crime all over America was pretty high and increasing. So that's what made me think about that maybe you have to defend yourself with more than your hands and your fists, So here we jump ahead to today, and 3 weeks ago, so this judge mentioned that this woman, they broke into her house, and in one hand she was dialing 911, which is the right thing to do, but she only had one other hand, and she shot as these guys tried to come at her. She killed one of them, two of them escaped. And the judge said in his ruling something that makes sense to me, but people who are gun phobic it's amazing. I never go to name calling, and they call me names. I've been told that my dick is too small, that's why I need a gun, from people who don't even know me. And thank you very much. I have no problem with my dick. But I've had other people tell me that I'm an idiot, I'm stupid, and many of these people never shot a gun.
Right, say something bad has never happened to them where they need protection.
Well, that's what I wonder about. I wonder, and so this judge was saying, if this woman had to take a California 10-round magazine and she couldn't reload, she had the phone in one hand trying to talk to the police, and they're 3 against 1. And plus, she came out of a dead sleep. I mean, when criminals attack you, the balance is in their favor because they've planned it out and they're wide awake, and maybe they know something you don't know. Maybe whereas a delivery person told them about what your house looked like or where your stuff was. So at any rate, that was one of the things he mentioned. And then he mentioned another woman who was with her, I think her kids, in her house, and she had the legal California 10-round magazine. And 2 guys broke in, and she started shooting at them because she didn't know who they were, and she ran out of bullets, and they ended up raping her and killing her. So that was a very good argument. He backed up, saying that the Second Amendment. Well, we could get into that. I mean, I've argued with people. They go, "Oh, well, you have to be in a militia."
California, where these incidents happened.
Apparently so, because the judge was a California judge, and he ruled this. And he mentioned another case.
Very different here in Texas. We have King of the Castle?
Castle Doctrine.
Castle Doctrine.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I've studied up on this. I have a friend who just relocated from here. He lived here all his life, and he turned 70 and retired and moved to, I think he's out there in Bryan, Texas. How far is that from you?
I can tell you in a second.
Probably, about 150 miles?
Oh, okay. Well, he was there, and he has a brother who had previously also grew up here, and they all have firearms. He told me everybody's got a concealed carry, whereas where I live, they hardly even hand them out. If you talk about discrimination and unfair use of the law, local law enforcement in many of the areas around here, it seems like the only people who get it is, they donated to the Sheriff's Benevolent Society, or there's someone like our governor. I would like to know if our governor owns a gun. Maybe he doesn't, but I know that a couple of people from here, one of whom is running for president now, is a hypocrite. She was an attorney and an attorney general of our state. Now she's a senator, and she's running for president. I've met her personally. And then we find out...
Kamala Harris?
Yeah, and we find out that she backs him up. Oh, yeah, we got to take away magazine. We got to take away more of these things, and you know what gets me. And then we find out that she has a concealed carry permit. Plus, she's got plenty of paid security. And one person online, when we were debating this, said, I wonder if she has, what they kept saying, high capacity magazines. I mean, 15 rounds in some of the weapons that people have around here, and the handguns, is what's typical. It's what they're sold with everywhere else except here and about 3 or 4 other states, and they give us these little shitty 10 round, and that was the third case that the judge quoted, that there was another woman, he was quoting women, but it can happen to men. Men have domestic abusers, and people break into their homes too, and not all of us are, the same size as Gene, and had the same training. So especially as you get older, maybe if you choose to be trained in the safe handling, maybe a gun is the best choice of self-defense. But hold on a minute. When I argue with people, they say, well, it says a militia. No, if you're an English degree in English, Sir Lana. Yeah. All one has to do is look at that Second Amendment, and it's a compound sentence. It says a militia and the right of the people to be armed shall not be infringed. It says two things. It doesn't say the people have to be part of a militia, but people will argue with me about that. And then the other argument,
they don't know how to read basic English.
No, but they go by their belief. It's like when I ran for office at one time 10 years ago. I told people at every debate, I know the issues for my community. I am not an ideologue. There are certain things I believe in, but you're electing me to represent, this neighborhood and this city, to do certain things, not to bring my agenda here, and negate everything you say unless it's ridiculous. So this is what has went on about 3 weeks ago, and then I said, oh, that's interesting. I'm sure it'll go to the Supreme Court probably. And then lo and behold, that happened on a Friday night, and on a Saturday I was looking online, and one place said, congratulations, California, we're offering a 10% discount on any magazine. And I said, oh, you can buy one. So, and I went online, and most places were already sold out. Apparently, statistically, they say there were over 1 million, up to almost 2 million bought. And then a week later, on the following Friday, some organization that are anti-gun and they think that they're saving children came and got lawyers and an amicus brief and came on and said, oh, we want to stay. And they got that same judge that made the ruling the week previous to make us stay until, I guess, it goes to a higher court. So I had one that I had purchased, and I don't like saying this publicly, but it was the wrong one to fit, so I sent it back, and the company that I bought it from is out of state, so I said, okay, you've got it back, send me the correct one. Oh, we can't do it now because of the stay, we can't ship it to you. I said, but I bought before the stay was put in effect. You got to fulfill your customers. No, they can't do it. So this is how ridiculous, and then the governor came on and put this statement that this was a tragedy and blah, blah, blah. So now what are they going to do now if the Supreme Court or whatever court overrules that? And then what are they going to do with over 1 million people? They're going to force you to go to jail if you don't turn in a magazine you bought legally. I mean, this is when a rule of law can get ludicrous at times.
And that's what I was going to say, Dino, is that these laws that usually, whether it be local or whatever, they try to pass, these laws are not affecting or effective for law-abiding citizens. They're protecting the criminal aspects because law-abiding citizens know their weapons, they know their guns, they're usually trained with their weapons. A lot of people have to pass tests to have guns. To get a commercial license to carry, and all it does is it puts the ball back into the criminal's court, because a criminal high capacity weapon, they're going to get their hands on it. There's no law that's going to prevent them from getting the high capacity. They want the criminals
to win.
Exactly.
Well, I mean, but you can't explain that to some people and they say, I don't think people, I've seen videos where they show people and it's got a Pickaninny rail on it and they go, oh, that's a military weapon. They don't even know what an AR is. They think it means automatic rifle. And it's not. It was Armalite. It was named after a person, and there are many different brands that make them. Colt makes one, and there's a new one called the Saint that I looked up that looks like a very well made by Springfield Arms, which is the oldest American arms manufacturer. And there are some quality weapons. But in addition to your statement about, bad people, you tell people, look, only criminals are going to get it. You think you already have so many laws in our state now, people are still getting shot. They still had a couple of schools shot up. What good did the magazine ban do?
Right.
And then the additional thing to that, which my friend always likes to point out, so even with a ban, you get 2 10 rounds, you tape them together with duct tape, it takes you 1 second to flip them over, you've got high capacity anyhow.
Right.
And but the people that pass the laws, they just want to show like, oh, we're doing something for their voters that are ignorant about how violence really comes down. And I took training. I took training for all this, and I have a certificate and all, but I can't get a concealed permit. And that's what they say. Are you going to be a sheep or a sheepdog? And God forbid, I don't want to ever shoot anybody. I hope I never come to a confrontation. But I've seen videos where, part of my training, where people critique what happened. Hey, if someone's robbing a store and they're just like most criminals that rob or just after resources, let them go. What do I care if Walgreens loses $1,000? Let the cops deal with it. And they show one guy that comes in, he's a legal concealed carry, he starts shooting through the window, so now they have a potential to take hostages, on and on. The point is, you can be trained on smart intervention.
Well,
besides saving your own life.
I was going to say, the problem with what down in San Francisco back in the 70s is you had that cop, Harry Callahan, who went around shooting up everything, and that's what that went down in San. Switching gears a little bit, what's going on with all the pooping in San Francisco?
Yeah, I know. It's everybody has been all over, including my friends, and I said, well, for years I've called it the shitty, because so many changes. I'm a member of groups where we all grew up there, and we remember how it was 40 years ago. It was a lot friendlier town. Didn't seem as much like a big city as it is now. And I saw an article today that the tech guy broke down all the statistics and did research, and it shows that that city, there are tech companies all over the world, right? Not just in America, because that's the new industry. But guess where most of the money funnels to? San Francisco, because it's become even for companies that don't have headquarters there, a lot of the techies like living there, and they've driven the real estate up. I mean, San Francisco, for example, has their statistics show less than 50% of the African-American population it had 25 years ago. That's how fast, for African-Americans that are below, lower income, they've had to leave because the housing gets taken out, older buildings get torn down to build multi-unit buildings, and if they're not, rentals are at an all-time high, but then they make condos, and the condos sell for sometimes more than $1 million each, and that's for a condo where you might pay $650, $800 a month in addition for condo fees. So who can afford that? And they say now to be comfortable living in San Francisco, you need to make about $75,000 a year. Now, to those of you in other parts of the country, it sounds crazy, but you need that. And I wasn't making that much, and I moved out a few years ago. Didn't have to because I owned some real estate. Well, the bank did, but I just got tired of it, and I lived out by the beach where it was less dense. But even that area, I saw on that map, people are pooping everywhere. They go to the beach to poop. They poop in the bushes. They, if you go down to Market Street, some places, especially tonight, man, moon in Scorpio, it's a full moon. I bet there are people that just hike it up and poop right on the curb. They don't care.
Well, see, that reminds me of what they were doing in England, and where they had this situation where right outside of pubs that you had all these men that they were peeing on the side of the building. And so they had to put in some kind of...
I've seen that. Really fancy, these things where it's flat to the ground, but somehow it'll raise up out of the ground, and it's like urinals all the way around in a circle where you just... I mean, my gosh, you may pee on anything.
I think France is even doing some similar things where they have these... They look like trash can bins, and you, as a man, you could just step up to it and do your thing.
I just feel like...
Yeah, like a kiosk.
You're an animal. Like, why can't you keep it together to go to a restroom like a human being?
Well, no, but you don't understand. It's a male thing. I think it's primeval. When I was go up to my dad's place in the country, that's what you did. I love that about not being in the city. You whip it out and water the plants. That's part of being a man. And I had a psychology professor, a PhD, years ago, that was kidding around. He said, no, he says, when I go out there, he goes, haven't you ever had that urge to like be on a hill or a cliff and to urinate over it? It's just some kind of it's a feeling, I don't know if women get it, but no, I mean, I remember 20 years ago, I had a good city job, a civil service job, paid really well, but I had to get to work by 8 o'clock, and I lived clear on the other side of the city, and, I was running from where I had to now you can't even park hardly downtown. They want everybody to be on transit or a scooter. But, you know, if you live in the hilly part of San Francisco, that doesn't work too well. But I was running from 4 blocks away where I had paid for a parking space, and I was running down Market Street because that's where I worked, because it wasn't far from the city hall. And I remember some crotchety old lady, she just walked there at the bus stop, and she right in front of me walking by, she hiked up her skirt and pooped right there. I mean, that was 8 o'clock in the morning, in broad daylight. So at any rate, I mean, a lot has changed, and I don't know. I was raised, I even used to take nonviolence classes, but you know, that's the second part of this thing that people don't even know me. I tell them, "What? You don't even know me? You know, not probably some people are half my age." I go, "You don't know my education level and all. Why don't you talk to me about the facts?" And all they do is go to the same grab bag that we go to, those of us who know the Second Amendment, and they go, "Oh, you'll end up shooting yourself." You know, I've heard that one a lot. I go, not with all our training. That's one thing I don't want to do. But they forget the second part of the Second Amendment. There are 2 parts. And the second part is what Thomas Jefferson and all these guys, it's to defend yourself against tyranny. It's not just to defend your home. It's if the government turns into, you know, a dictatorship, you might have a chance to fight back. As horrible as that sounds to modern Americans, our country was founded in fighting and blood, unfortunately, you know? And then the other part of that, which a lot of the standard argument is, they say, "Oh, well, the founding fathers were smart. They wouldn't want the weapons nowadays. It was time for muskets back then." And I say, bunky. Jefferson, Washington, these were all very enlightened, educated guys that when any new technology came along that was worthwhile, they adopted it. And I'd say today, they'd say, sure, almost everybody's got, weapons that are semi-auto. Hardly anybody has any kind of a, straight mechanical revolver anymore. And the same goes for a rifle. A rifle just gives you a little bit of distance from someone who's trying to do harm to you. And then the final argument that I hear all the time is, well, even if that's true, I'd like to see you and your friends out there with your rifles and your handguns fighting the army with their helicopters and missiles. And to that I say, well, you would hope that if it got that bad in this country, that some of the military, even though they're trained and all, would be like on Star Trek or something. They would turn and the commanders that were ordering them, they'd take them out of office and say, no, I'm not going to attack the people. And even if they did, and I think our friend Gene here would back me up, what would you rather do? Just stand there like a sheep to the slaughter and be marched into a camp, or at least have a chance to fight back, even if it only is a rifle? Mm-hmm. And people don't want to hear that, but like tonight we got political. There are some people who don't like Trump, and there are some people that believe that President Trump could lead to a dictatorship. And they go, oh, no, that's not possible. Well, they were saying it about the last president. Anything's possible. So, that's the other reason that everybody, and I believe it's still true in Switzerland, it's a mandatory, probably for males, maybe for females, you are issued a military, a rifle. I think it's a semi-auto, and you're trained in it. I think you give a year of service or something. Mm-hmm. Of course, they're a smaller country, but then you are to keep that with you for your life in your home, because they don't have a big standing army, and it's a hedge against bad government, because now we know at least every male member of household who has been trained legally has a legal weapon that works. So maybe that's a hedge against tyranny, but people don't want to hear that.
Right. I think it scares them. All right, Dino.
It is scary. I'd hate to do it. I wasn't trained like our listener Gene here, but I've been learned, and I'm intelligent, and I'm going to a gym now in my old age and trying to keep what strength I have left. And I know that you have to know the right time to get into a fight, but if you have to fight, I'm a pacifist, but not to the point where I'm going to let someone impose their will upon me. I'm gonna meet it with equal force or more if they're trying to take my life or hurt people. And people don't seem to realize that. And a lot of, the final argument that a lot of police officers and sheriffs, some of them are really good people, and they really got the job because they wanted to serve, but a lot of them are bums. They get the job, and then they get fat and sit back because they know, oh, man, look at the power I have, and they do as little as possible. We've all met cops like that, you know? And then how do you defend yourself when you call for a cop, and I don't know if this is true, but they're not even trying to defend your life. They're just trying to defend, you know, peace in the community. I don't know if they have any real mandate legally to come in and save your life. You know, the police are a civil institution. They're supposed to be to keep peace in the community, not to individually protect you. In fact, if you're threatened and all, maybe they would let you have a concealed weapons permit because there are not enough cops to guard everybody's house. But people don't want to hear that, and when they live in an urban area especially, and if they're not in a bad neighborhood, and that's the other thing, they stopped a gun show that was for years at the San Francisco Cow Palace, which is a very large venue that all types of things, everything from rodeos to the Rolling Stones to Prince to circuses, all kinds of things go there. And we have a local state senator who used to be a supervisor, and his name is Wiener. That's his name, really. And he's from Philip, Pennsylvania. He's probably been here 10, 15 years. He got himself elected, and now he's trying to close down this cow palace. And many of us, there's a whole movement. We've called his office. I got talked down to condescendingly by his chief of staff when I didn't call names. I just kept quoting facts, and the guy kept trying to trip me up and told me I sounded like a Trump supporter. And I mean, this is the kind of disrespect you get from some of your elected representatives once they get in office, and this is the kind of behavior you get from some law enforcement too. I don't want to have to depend on them to protect my home or my life, and I certainly don't want to be victimized. So I don't know. That's the thing that's been under my. It was just amazing. Over 1.5 million of magazines of all types sold out. It was a boon. And then, you know, I was able to get one, which is only, I could have gotten a larger capacity, but I got one that would have come with my original weapon. I would have had 2 of them in any other state, but they couldn't give them to me here. So I had to pay extra to get one. And then when I tried to get this other one, it was the wrong one. Now they can't send it to me. This is how ridiculous. So we're all hoping that it goes on to the Supreme Court. They sustain this California judge's ruling, and then people can have any size magazine they want. And we'll see what the governor says. Oh, we don't want any more mass shootings. I don't think there are going to be more mass shootings because of it, but I guess only time will tell.
Only time will tell.
You know, it's a funny thing. So that's the burr that's been under my blanket, and I think those of you who have met me know I'm not a violent person. I don't threaten people. And, in fact, I have some bozo not far from my house that called me an asshole when I was driving by because supposedly I came around or something. It was a few months ago, and it kind of got my dander up, and I go, who's this guy? You know, you shouldn't be calling people assholes. But I'm not going to go back and wave my gun and go, oh, yeah, who's the asshole now? I don't need... You know, I've been around long enough that I don't need to prove who's a bigger man. But you come to my house or you come and attack me or my friends when I'm out in public, I want the right to defend myself, not, oh, I had to shoot him because he was coming at me with a knife. Now we're going to arrest you. That's what they do here in California. They arrest you, even if you defended someone's life.
Mm-hmm. That's why we love Texas.
Yep.
Yeah, well, you better start watching out for the Sasquatch there. There are more and more sightings. I am amazed. That's another topic.
They're not
in the
coming
last year.
into the city where we are, so I'm not...
Well, they've been on city edges. There have been sightings. And where I am now is not too far from the city.
Do you know,
and I found out that they had a sighting up here a couple of years ago.
I've actually been listening to, and I don't think they're true because they're like creepypasta stuff, but I've been listening to compilation stories about encounters with cryptids, humanoids, and Sasquatch-like creatures, but it's more like a bedtime story thing, you know. And I don't. It's not exactly something restful to listen to when you're trying to fall asleep. And I was like, I thought of you. I'm like, I should stop listening to this.
No, I know you've said that, but I used to feel that way because I'm not a person who's into ghost stuff.
No, I'm not.
But I've been listening to this SasquatchChronicles.com.
It's
He's
freaky.
got 5. Well, but it is. But when I listen to it, it helps me go to sleep now because I always make sure everything's locked, and I've got motion lights around and I've learned to just get into the wonder of it all. That people from all over the world, but he interviews people, and I've heard other people do interviews, but I think this guy Wes Germer up in Washington State is the best. And he does blogs. He doesn't have call-ins. He just takes one person at a time.
Right. I think the reason I can listen to the stuff about Sasquatch like creatures is because I will never go camping. I will never be in a cabin in the woods. And
Exactly.
That just never happened, so.
Exactly, and that's another thing that gets a burr in my blanket. When I didn't have a sighting, but I think I had a smelling, the scent, and that time that I think I've described to you, and I've described it on other show about how I was back in the 80s in Big Sur area hiking back with a friend of mine, and one area in the trail, the creepy feeling, and I remember that there was a stinky smell, and I go, what's that? Like a skunk. And now that I know about this, it could have been a Sasquatch. And then there was a British woman who finally called in about a month ago from England and said that in about the same time when I was there that she had a sighting. She didn't even know what this was at the beach when she was here for a job interview down in the Big Sur area. So the point is, I hear a lot of people, and there's even some pretty young thing that goes with her collie dog. I ran into it on YouTube, and she likes to go out on overnights out in the wilderness and sleep in a little lean-to. She's out and it's snowing sometimes, and she's with her nice little collie dog. But even she said that I take a gun with me, and yet in most national parks, you're not supposed to have a gun. But that time, way back in the 80s, I had one in my backpack, and if I ever go camping again, forget what the rules are. I'm going to have one because there are also weird people that live out. I've heard in Texas and other places there are people that are living out in the brush now. Not just homeless. They're like wild people. Is that true?
Well, Texas is a big state, and I wouldn't be surprised if there is a few people that are out in the middle of nowhere. Especially, I remember when I was living in Bandera, Texas. I mean, there's a lot of area that you can just set up a tent and people wouldn't even know you're there.
Oh, yeah, that's hill country.
Yeah, and I hear they have it in Kentucky. And so one woman said, if I ever go camping again, I'm always going to have a weapon. She goes, even if it's a rare sighting of a Sasquatch, it's just worry about the wild people. And there's something to be said about that. I mean, these people that disappear on the Pacific Coast Trail, which is a long trail, and on the the Appalachian Trail, they've had people disappear there too without a trace. Is that Bigfoot, or is that some group or ne'er-do-well who does ne'er-do-well with a person and they disappear?
Yeah, underground bases. It could be anything. That you got in the Appalachians. You've got that tunnel system, which goes back to the Hopkinsville, Kentucky incident I always talk about, where these hobgoblin-looking things were in these mines and how they interconnect. And Hellier was a pretty good documentary that I watched not too long ago. It's by I guess Weird Planet, something like that, and how they were talking about how these major incidents of cryptodes had cryptodes. I'm sorry, I'm thinking
cryptodes.
Cryptodes.
Cryptodes. Man, them cryptodes are wild.
You mean the people that date, not Serlana, what was her name? Cassandra Peterson. I love her. I met her once.
Oh, Elvira?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Crypt dudes.
But anyway, you've got all these incidents that happen along the Appalachian trails and mountains, and then of course, not to get all deliverance in the situation.
Oh, Lord.
Backwoods people, brewing their moonshine and stuff. That's a whole another topic to talk about another time. But anyway, Duna, I guess we're a little bit past our break, but we wanted to thank you for calling in. I know.
All right. Well, thank you for letting me vent because it's ridiculous, and I don't want to get arrested. I'm hoping this gets sorted out in the courts very soon, so I can get a magazine for my rifle too, and not be arrested for just trying to defend myself. You know.
Well, definitely, you've got us behind you.
Okay. All right. Let's have a good night, and hi to all the listeners. Always nice to have a extended family.
Yes. Good night, Dino.
Bye,
We're here
Dino.
for you. All right. Let's take that break, shall we?
Yes, we shall.
You are listening to Spaceboy Universe on the SBU network.
Explore the universe with Spaceboy and Sir Lotta.
Greetings, Space Cadets. Let's see what's in the sky tonight in the Spaceboy Universe. Tonight, in the eastern sky, we have Spaceboy Universe rising above the horizon in glorious splendor. And in the west, we can see Solanas Majoris, which is visible at 9 p.m. Central Standard Time, just below the K28 belt. So keep your eyes on the sky and listen to Spaceboy Universe.
I'm Solaris Blue Ribbon, and I'm listening to Spaceboy Universe.
You are listening to Spaceboy Universe. Here are your hosts, Spaceboy and Sir Lana.
All right. We're back. Having a great evening talking to the Space Cadets. I'm glad you're calling home. It's about time y'all did. And I just want to thank Miss Michelle for burning a fire under everybody to get the call home. And the lines are still open. I think I saw a few people I'd love to hear from that are in the chat. You want to give that number?
Yeah.
Just to verbally say it. 713-701-5214.
Sorry about that.
But anyway, Solaris had posted an article on my Facebook wall and about Stan Romanek. And, when he was let out of jail, he had to stay at a halfway house. And apparently this place was, infected by a phone call.
Yes.
Caller, you're on the air.
Hello, it's Donna.
Hello, Donna. Just the person I was hoping would
Donna.
call.
What's up?
How's everybody?
Doing good.
You sound good.
Oh, I'm so much better than I was for a while. I've gotten over my major health problem, so
well, good.
I'm very happy with that. Yes, I'm calling because Dino said he wanted to hear more about my experience in Happy Camp, California.
Okay.
Well, definitely do tell.
Well, I used to live right on the edge of town. It was a mountainous area, so I was up high and right across from the native school that was there, the indigenous people school.
Mm-hmm.
And so it was pretty remote. There wasn't that much there. One time I was laying on my couch watching television, and I heard this and I looked up at the open door, which just had a screen, and a brown bear was sitting there staring at me. And I thought, oh, okay, that is bad. And then I managed to get up and put my foot over and slam the door and frightened it, and it ran off my porch. And then about a week after that, I was laying in my bedroom, which was at the front of the house near that same spot, and I heard something on the porch, and when it's warm, you crack the window a little bit, right?
Right.
And I had this smell. It just gagged me. It was horrible, horrible smell. And then I heard this scream. You cannot describe the scream. And it made every hair on your body stand up. And I kept choking. It was so bad. And I got up and I closed the window. And I didn't see it, but I heard it leaving the front porch. And it was much bigger than a bear.
Mm-hmm.
And so that was in Happy Camp. And they were always finding stuff like that. And apparently that guy that did the film, the famous Bigfoot,
mm-hmm.
He was lived near there in Willow Creek. That was about 10 miles from where I live. So that's my Bigfoot story. I didn't see him, but I smelled him.
Well, you definitely have described what some accounts have described the stench, unbearable stench that's associated with these Bigfoot sightings. I can only imagine the hollering part would have freaked me out beyond belief.
Well, it was right on the porch.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, the only thing between me was the window and whatever was out there. And, of course, I didn't turn on the light, and I didn't look. I just closed that window as quickly as possible.
Mm-hmm.
And I was living by myself at that time, so I had double freak out.
So, the next day, did you go out on the porch and investigate to see if there's anything out there, like any kind of evidence of something being out there?
Well, there wasn't any evidence because it had been real dry, so there was no footprints or anything.
Mm-hmm.
But there was I had furniture on the porch,
and it was laying over sideways, and that's about it. But like I said, I know what a bear smells like. I've been that close to them, you know. But this was really, I don't know. It was almost like a dead skunk. You know how you go past roadkill, and it gives you that sickening smell that makes you want to throw up. It was just like that.
Fascinating. You know, do you remember listening to Art Bell and the story about Bugs? The guy that had apparently shot two big. How do you say plural Bigfoot? Two big feet. and the guy was so worried that when he shot them, he was worried he was going to go to jail for shooting them. And he ended up burying him. I guess he must have gave a map to Art and said, "Hey, Art, here, if I'm gone for good, you can go ahead and tell the world about what happened here." And I was always fascinated by that, and I think unfortunately Art passed before he divulged anything about the whereabouts of the buried location of these two big feet. Does it ring a bell to you, Donna, or do you even remember listening to Art Bell?
You know, I think I do remember that, but God, that was long ago.
Yeah, it was long ago.
Yeah. I know there's a lot of different.
Dino's saying the guy's wife still has the map. So what else is going on, Donna? What tell us more.
Well, I always like to talk about the shadow beings.
Mm-hmm. Any new encounters?
Well, I've noticed that they're active again. Mm-hmm. So I'm not exactly sure what is going on, though I do know there's been a lot of activity with the volcano that's south of us.
Right.
I don't have to say that name, but
I think we talked about how you were talking about animals, seeing shadow animals of some kind. Is that correct?
Yeah, I see. They're usually small. I call them rabbits. So they're not real. They don't have the big ears like rabbits. They're more like guinea pigs. And they're about that size, about a couple of pounds. So they're maybe 5-6 inches long and probably 3-4 inches tall. As the more I see of them, the more I know something is going on. And yesterday I was outside, and I was sitting and getting sun. I like to do that while the weather's nice. And there must have been 1,000 of them running through the backyard. And when I set up and looked, of course, they're not there.
I guess, did you hear them, making their way across the field or something, or?
Well, I don't really hear them.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not sure exactly why, but I don't hear them. It's more like you feel their presence.
I got you.
And, but like I said, there were lots of them. They were running across the yard, like something was after them, type running.
So when you feel their presence, how does it make you feel when you're getting that sense of picking them up?
Well, they kind of give you that feeling that there's something not quite right with the air.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know how to explain it. That's probably not a good explanation, but it's almost like a disturbance in the air, like
kind of like when you feel a rainstorm coming, right?
Yeah, exactly. Like when you smell the rain coming, you kind of feel them coming through.
Like an electricity in the air.
Exactly. Electricity in the air. That's a very good way to say it. Yeah, so that's been going on for over the last week.
Do you recall? Do you recall when you first started having these? I guess shadow sightings. Shadow sightings.
Oh, I've had them all my life. They've been a part of my life as long as I can remember. I've seen either shadow people or shadow animals.
Have there been
ever
any?
Since I was about 4 or 5.
Have they been benevolent contacts, or have they been?
No, that's the thing I don't understand. A lot of people say, "Oh, they're demons or something,"
right?
But they don't really contact me in that way. They're more dimensional. Like they don't belong to our dimension.
Mm-hmm.
That type of thing. They're like. The only thing I can say is it's like if you took a veil and put it over your head and was looking out.
Right.
They're just out there. It's like it's not quite reality, and yet it is. So it's hard to explain that one. But I know that every time they start ramping up, something happens. Something in the earth. Something happens with the earth. They'll have an earthquake or a storm. Sometimes a storm is coming.
Yeah, and I think I mentioned before how animals have I guess they're really tuned in to the earth. I mean, birds, they know when some kind of issue is happening and they'll start to fly away from things. You'll have horses they'll get all riled up. And other animals, they can just sense these things.
Now, I'm not sure if I had talked to you since my sister and I were sitting in my place watching television, and there was a shadow came to my door, which is between my house and her house. It's like a breezeway.
Mm-hmm.
And she goes, "Oh, I think my husband's here." And I said, "No, I don't think it's that time yet." And then I saw it, and she turned and looked. It was a figure standing at the back door, a full-on figure, but it was dark. I mean, it's like a shadow.
Right.
But it was standing there, and there wasn't a person. Nobody could get in our backyard without the dogs going crazy. And in fact, the dogs are so used to seeing the shadow beings that they just kind of like, "Oh, they're back,"
Do you ever get a sense that you're being watched at any given time?
Oh, yeah. I feel like that most of the time. There's usually there's a feeling of being watched, or there's a feeling of a presence. So that's the biggest thing, is that it feels like they're there. And, you kind of, like when you're out in the woods all by yourself and you go, "Oh, I think somebody's watching me," type of feeling.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I can definitely understand that, because you're in the middle of the dark. You can't really see unless animals, their eyes light up in the dark.
Yeah, see, I've never had the eyes light up on my shadow beings or the shadow animals. It's all shadow. That's why I said I don't feel like they're demons at all. I just feel like they're interdimensional. And several of them, of the human-looking ones, they had some kind of device in their hand, and they were checking it, like, you with an iPad or a small computer, and they were doing something with it. And then when I would sit up and look, that's when they would act like, oh my gosh, you've seen it, and then they take off.
Well, Donna, that's very interesting stuff there. And we're glad you're doing better and healthy. You sound real good. And we thank you for calling in tonight.
You're welcome. I'm glad you guys are still here. So.
Yeah, we're still here, and the future is unwritten. So, we don't know what's going to happen tomorrow. So, just keep tuned in with us, and we'll keep providing a good show.
And I'm going to sign off, but also please let me know how is your air conditioning doing. Because I know people in the heat need air conditioning.
Oh, we know. Trust me.
Believe me.
All right, Donna.
I love you guys. Talk to you later.
Love you too. Bye-bye.
Well, it was so good to hear from Donna.
It was good to hear from Donna.
I wish I was more well-versed on the things she experiences. I need to take some time and go maybe research some of that stuff.
Mm-hmm. Interesting topic. And speaking of an interesting topic, here's our break, Sirlana.
Mm-hmm.
What? Hold on. I messed this one up. At least it wasn't like last week when it was total chaos, but here it is.
You are listening to Spaceboy Universe on the SBU network.
Explore the universe with Spaceboy and Sir Lotta.
Get your game on Spaceboy Universe. Level up with Spaceboy Universe. No quarters, no problems. Play it at Spaceboy Universe.
listening to Spaceboy Universe. Here are your hosts, Spaceboy and Sir Lana.
Once again, we're back, and we've got another call. Caller?
Hello.
Hello, Catalina. How are you tonight?
I'm doing good. I was thinking it's so nice to have somebody to call in Texas.
Oh, great.
I don't think I have any other friends in Texas.
Do we have the accents to back them up, like when Miss Michelle calls in when she says a boot?
A boot?
Well, I'm not a Texan.
You're close enough.
You're a Texan. I'm not a Texan.
She's a Texan by marriage.
Not from here. Not raised here.
You don't have a strong Texan accent at all, Sir Lana.
It's just Southern.
Southern, but yeah, you don't got a twang.
Southern.
You don't got the twang.
I'm sure if she started singing 9 to 5, she would.
Nobody wants to hear that. Okay, that's a great song, but nobody wants to hear me do that. There's not enough alcohol in the universe for that.
Oh, really? I'm sure we went through your old archives of sweet tea and sarcasm that we.
What? All 2 of them?
I think you have more than 2 shows you did.
No, there was 2, and then life happened, and no more. But I'm thinking we can redo it with Miss Michelle.
So, Catalina,
that's a bummer.
It's your nickel, so you called in. Tell us something good. What's going on, my dear? Even if you want to gripe and complain about something, go on ahead. We're here to listen.
No, not going to complain. I went to a Buddhist meditation get-together down in San Diego today. It was my Thai friends, and this group down there is mostly Laos and a little bit of Thai, mostly Laos. And so they have like a center, but actually it's a big house on a really unusual piece of property, about 2.5 acres. And the way they had it set up, and we had our meditation. Oh, they had me do my extras. And then the property went out, kind of like shaped like a triangle, and going out to the land was these wild yellow daisies that were like almost up to my nose.
Wow.
I mean, how many people have that on their property, right? I thought, this is so cool. And it went way back. It was so thick. And they had cut a swath through there so they could lay down the bamboo walking mats and then the astroturf carpet, because the monks do this thing with alm bowls where they walk, and then you sit, and then you put foods and dollar bills or whatever, when they come through. And so that's always a mystical thing to do, because that's reenacting something they've been doing for like 2,000 years. So we're sitting there, and we're just around these, huge huge bushes of flowers. I thought, wow, that's really fun. It was really pretty, blue skies and no chemtrails. I was like, this is pretty mystical. But I wanted to share what one of the monks had said about one of the ladies, a nun that was in this organization a long time ago. She was like one of the main leaders after the original founder died, and it's in Thailand. And she helped organize these meditations that went on all day. I mean, they never stopped, where lay people and monks would take 6-hour shifts of meditation so that in the temple, so that somebody was always meditating, a group was always meditating. And this went on for 28 years. I was like, what? I couldn't believe it. And then partly what they would do, at least for the monks, is that people could come and put in petitions for having the monks go learn something from them. And primarily it was always for their dead relatives or something.
Mm-hmm.
Like, where are they, or can you help them, or this, that, and the other. And then they would go, I guess what she'd do is she would ask for a picture, and so that they could see the picture and know a little bio of the person. And I guess that's all they needed. And then they would do a 6-hour meditation. And they would go find the person. And, or she would do it too. So this one monk had a grandfather that had fought in World War II. So because the Buddhists believe that, it's not good to kill for any reason, that, you would be in a lower realm. So this nun went and he had to have it interpreted what she said, but that they did find him. He was in a lower realm, but they were able to bring him out of there, bring him up. So I thought, wow, this is all really fascinating. So afterwards, I said, I talked to the monk, and I said, God, I have so many questions to ask you about that. So I just picked his brain about, more about how they just kept this vigil going. That is just amazing. And they said it's harder now because the world is more populated and the monks have to do more things socially. I mean, they're more part of, these monks back then in Thailand, it was not so populated, so they were more secluded. But I just found that really fascinating that, when you get to a certain point of meditation, that you can actually do these metaphysical things and help people like that. You can go into other realms and help other souls that need the help. I just asked them all kinds of questions. I just thought that was, you don't get to hear that kind of thing normally, right?
Right from the horse's mouth.
Yeah. So that can happen. I'm not at that point. I'm still working with my own stuff. Because I'd asked him, I said, now these monks, I said, do you think they were had cleared 90% of their defilements? Defilements meant their karma, your negative stuff in you. I said, do you think that they'd cleared about 90%? And he said, oh yeah, at least. I said, so they were almost enlightened monks. And he goes, oh yeah, definitely. But he says it's just harder and harder now for, a monk to get to that level, because everybody's so infiltrated. I mean, it's hard to be secluded. Who really could be that secluded unless you're up in the Himalayas, maybe in a cave or something? So I thought that kind of bummed me out too, because I thought, you can work really, really hard at whatever spirituality you have, but because you're so bombarded by everything around now, it's getting, and now with them wanting to roll out 5G, I mean, it's just kind of harder and harder to try to get to that higher spiritual place if that's what you want to do, So I was thinking about that too.
5G, yes. Rolana has been talking about that a lot lately too.
Scary 5G.
Yeah, because you want to just keep your noodle as free as you can, but then you get bombarded. It's harder if you're trying to go up into higher consciousness. So I got into a long talk with him, Monk, about that, about trying to raise your consciousness to the highest level. So I think this is also a part of the war that's going on with humans, of not allowing them to raise up, their frequencies up higher. It isn't just about poisoning us, which there's a lot of that going on, but not allowing us to get there. And I don't even know if half the population knows that that's something that maybe they should or could do, right? Maybe they're just not even aware. I don't know.
I think that, we're being suppressed so that we are not aware of the level of consciousness that's where we could be at, so that we can be subdued and controlled more easily.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I know I keep bringing up her name, but Solaris has spoke on many of the topic of this very nature. Solana, we probably might want to consider having her back on the air.
Yes, that's right.
Yeah, she's great. I like her.
Yeah, we like her too.
If it's not been too soon for her, we don't like to overwhelm her by talking to her too much. I always feel like she's doing super cool, important things, and we're like, can we just have a crumb of your attention, please? You know? I don't think she thinks that, but, you know.
No, she doesn't. She's always telling, you, Sir Lana, that you can always reach out to her.
Remember that time we accidentally took over
her broadcast? Well, that's only because she had a technical difficulty with
Robert.
Robert, of all people. Robert Sullivan. When we had
we went on there and I summarized his book for her audience. I read it.
But we had a good time on there.
That was fun.
Yeah, she's very, very in tune. She absolutely knows what's going on outside of the matrix. She's got a good handle on that.
She's experienced some things that I don't know how somebody would deal with it and stay sane or adjust it or,
She's seen a lot, and she still remains a level.
And I wonder if that's what's coming for the rest of us. She knows I think she has some tools to combat, and I'm like, maybe we should interview her about how to combat the coming brainwash,
Well, I can tell you, if you do the correct meditation, it helps. Like my first one we did two. So the first one we did this morning, just dealing with my own thoughts. Mm-hmm. You have the stream of all this garbage in your head that my first meditation was like, got to deal with that. All that stuff comes up. And after lunch, and oh my gosh, the food. They made some of these incredible Thai Laos dishes. I was like, oh my God, every flavor was amazing. I was like, whoa, you don't get to eat food like that normally. And then I went out and I said, God, I'm just getting a head rush from this food. So I went back to the bamboo mat and the big bushes of flowers and just laid it there and just let the sun bake on me. I was like, this is great having all this energy, these flowers all around me and stuff. And then I came back, and then we were going to have another meditation. So I said, okay, I should be ready for this one because out in nature and everything. And I got into the deepest meditation I haven't had in a long time. And I 3 times I almost fell off my chair because I was so deep into it. I was getting out of my body, and you're at that point where you're just about completely out of your body, and then you're going to fall off the chair. It's like, whoa, you're in a room with people. I can't fall off the chair. So then I kept switching my body around so that I would not fall off the chair. And then a couple times, so then after the meditation, I shared with the monk, and I told him that, I almost fell off the chair like 3 times. So I said, but there's this other time, I said, it felt like I was going over bumps. And he said, you mean like being on a plane and there's turbulence, something, and then you get this drop, like, your stomach. I go, yeah, that's exactly what it was. And he said, yeah, what that is you're at the right center of your body. They call it the 7th base, like 2 inches above your navel. It's like your solar plexus. They said that's the actual middle of your body, where when you meditate, your mind consciousness should be right at the center right there. That's where you're perfectly balanced. But then sometimes they'll say that your consciousness will drop to the next level, or some call it the next chakra. And he said, and then you felt it coming back up again. And I said, yeah. And he goes, yeah, that's what happens sometimes. He says, your consciousness is trying to get adjusted, and it goes down and it comes back up to the center part of it. And I was like, wow, that's amazing that I experienced some of that stuff, because that's when you get you're in the deeper levels of consciousness for meditation. And I think when you get to those things, that helps you to deal with the bombardment of what you're going through, because now I feel that's how you're getting out of the matrix, because you've just gone beyond all the garbage in your head and whatever you're dealing with and your aches and pains of your body and all this stuff, and you're like, you're free, So I highly recommend that to people, to find whatever type of meditation works for you. But
I like to use binaural.
Binaural.
Those are awesome.
Yes,
I do those in the morning.
I during the midday, after dealing in IT can be kind of toxic with the people I have to help. So at lunch, I will, get into my van and put that on my earbuds and just kind of close my eyes and just kind of like let my mind just empty out and listen to that. And that is so helpful to reach a state of another basically it's like an out of body experience.
Mm-hmm.
And so, yeah.
Yeah, I mentioned those to the people today. I said I'd do those binaural beats, or I call them the healing frequency meditations. I do those in the morning, and wow, are they powerful?
Mm-hmm.
Extremely powerful. So, yeah, I recommend those to people that are on YouTube. They're awesome. Okay, well, that's all I wanted to share, so take care.
Well, thank you, Catalina, for calling in, and you're always welcome to call the Texas hotline. So,
thank you. Okay,
hot.
Okay, good night.
Good night, Catalina. All right. Wow. There's
it's a great night. It's worth getting up and
sweating
when y'all, to the oldies.
When y'all call in, that makes the show so exciting to actually talk to different people from across the globe, and then of course seeing the active chat room. Maybe one day we'll get a boom from Gene to call in and.
In the other chat, we've got two chats going.
Mm-hmm.
Michelle said something about she and I should drink and have her like be the co-host, and you sort of do the producing, and then you cut us off when we become incoherent. And I said it could be like we could call it, something like a drunk broadcast with Canadians and call it Canadian Proof or something like that.
Mm-hmm. I just want to tell Gene, you're a great American, Gene. Don't change. We like you.
Yep. And I was trying to explain to Bev what SCTV was.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
Well,
I said
not everybody's nerdy like we are.
Some of the great Canadian actors
John
came
Candy.
up through. John Candy, Martin Short, Rick Moranis, the other guy, Thompson, can't remember his name.
And there was a guy that was an American Pie that played the dad. I can't think of Eugene Levy.
Eugene Levy came through SCTV. I'm trying to think of some of the name. It'll tell me here. Wikipedia. Thank you, Wikipedia. Yes. Dave Thomas. He and Moranis were Bob and Doug McKenzie. Sketches and characters. Ed Grimley, that was my favorite. Martin Short did Ed Grimley. It was just a sketch show like Saturday Night Live, but
they came out about the same time, but
1976 to 1984. It's from Toronto's Second City Troupe. That's what SCTV was for. Second City in Toronto. It was on Canadian television.
No kidding, eh?
Hey. Let's see. Joe Flaherty, John Candy, Eugene Levy, Andrea Martin, Rick Moranis, Catherine O'Hara. If you don't know her, she played the mom in the first Home Alone.
Right.
Harold Ramis came through there.
Good old Harold Ramis.
Dave Thomas and Martin Short. Very good sketches. Classic stuff. Good stuff.
And a lot of them were good friends with the Saturday Night Live guys and gals.
And so that's how some of them sort of bled over onto SNL during that same time period, because they would just bring them over. It would just be very, like Martin Short made it over.
Mm-hmm. He even played Ed Grimley on Saturday
SNL.
Night Live. Yeah, SNL.
Introduced us to Ed Grimley. And that was in the 80s, and I was just he was such a bizarre thing. I loved it because I was a kid,
And then I guess years later you had the Kids in the Hall.
Kids in the Hall was the second coming of the Canadian sketch show. That was the 90s, maybe late 90s. And a couple of them went on to do American TV shows, but Scott, the little curly-haired black brunette guy, shows up everywhere. He showed up in rap videos. He showed up as background characters. He showed up as a supporting actor. I can't remember his name, but he was the little skinny wiry one, you know. Not Scott Thompson, but I'm trying to think of their name. I can't remember their name. Kids in the Hall.
Mm-hmm.
I enjoyed that show for a little bit. Let's see.
They took the idea of like Monty Python of men dressing up as women.
Kevin McDonald.
Yeah.
Dave Foley, Kevin McDonald, Bruce McCullough, Mark McKinney, and Scott Thompson.
Yeah.
But
David
Kevin
Foley.
McDonald is in everything, it seemed like, at one time. He just got these bit parts. And I don't know, one of them would dress up as a chicken lady. Remember that one? One of the guys, it was like a woman, but it was a chicken.
I'm crushing your head.
That weird one, that was a weird one. Same guy, that was the same guy.
Mm-hmm.
And then Scott Thompson would be at the bar doing his cave stuff, so... Yeah. Well, you have to be funny or you'll freeze to death. That's why Canadians are funny. All that laughter keeps you warm. And,
yeah, I did like her in that movie, Donna, Beetlejuice.
She was good in Beetlejuice, Catherine O'Hara.
Uh-huh.
And, yeah, that's just our little way to give you a second little education there. I liked Beetlejuice. They could easily do another one.
One more time.
Oh, to make him appear? You do it.
No, I'll pass.
Ooh, somebody's scared.
So, before we go...
We hope you have enjoyed the show.
And thank you, Don Pardo. And I guess as we play our music out, I just want to thank all the Space Cadets that showed up tonight. And we wish you a wonderful week upcoming and stay positive. Don't listen to Sir Lana. You can be positive and reach a level of enlightenment.
Spaceboy Universe is hosted by Spaceboy and Sir Lana. Executive producer is Sir Lana. Associate producer is Lee Ann Cordes. Music production is Spaceboy of SpaceboyMusic.com. Special thanks goes out to Lee Ann K, K28, Dino, Solars Blue Raven, Patrick Sporer, Bob and Beverly N. This has been a Spaceboy Universe production. Support the universe by exploring Spaceboy Universe with Spaceboy and Sir Lana. Sweet dreams, Space Cadets.